Hi guys, it's Dia and Kea. Welcome to another episode of our podcast, Easier Read Than Done, where we review books and talk about the environmental issues highlighted in said books.
I'm quite excited about the book we're going to be talking in this episode. It's written by one of my favorite authors, John Grisham. It's called Grey Mountain, and I'm sure many of you may have heard of it already.
Maybe, but not everyone is as obsessed with legal thrillers as you are, Dia.
Okay, that's probably true. You have a fair point. Anyway, people are here to listen to the review, so let's dive right into it without wasting any more time. Kea, would you like to start it off?
Yeah, sure. This book revolves around Columbia Law graduate Samantha Kofer. She works at Lehman Brothers, a well reputed law firm in New York. She's doing well at her job, which she's had for 3 years, until the recession hits and she's laid off.
Don't worry though, there is still some hope for her. If she works pro bono at a place where people really need her help and she can make a change there, she can retain her healthcare benefits and maybe return to her old job after a year if the economy improves.
She's assigned to a legal aid clinic in a small town called Brady, situated in Vancouver, smack in the middle of the Appalachian Mountains. Upon moving here, Samantha experiences a jarring cultural shock. The lifestyle, the people, almost everything is completely different to her comfortable life in the city.
The cases she has to handle here are nothing like what she's dealt with before. The first case she's assigned by her boss, Matty Wyatt, is that of a woman seeking legal protection from her husband who deals in methamphetamine and beats her.
After helping this woman successfully, she's assigned to her first black lung case. It is here that Samantha, along with the readers, learns about the coal mining company that dominates the Appalachians, Big Coal. Many residents of Brady are ex-employees of this company and are now afflicted by a myriad of respiratory disorders.
However, these employees are entitled to $1,000 a month until they die if they are able to prove that they have any form of disease caused due to decades of working at mines. This may seem like a fair policy, but ex employees have the cards stacked against them.
Big Coal hires hordes of lawyers to unfairly settle or delay the hundreds of cases being filed against them. They use dirty tricks in order to avoid paying compensation to any of their ex employees. The extent to which they do this is seen while Matty tells Samantha that pursuing any case against Big Coal would be futile, since only about 5% of their employees receive any form of benefits.
Samantha, however, is not alone in her quest for justice. Matty's nephew, Donovan Gray, is also pursuing multiple cases against Big Coal.
Grisham highlights the multiple cases pursued by Donovan and Samantha throughout the book.
The most disheartening one is that of the death of two young boys caused by a boulder dislodged by one of Big Coal's bulldozers while clearing land for mining.
Another one of Donovan's cases highlights the effects of toxic dumping of wastewater into a water body that is the primary source of water for a neighboring town. This resulted in the town having one of the highest cancer rates in the US.
Grisham is hence able to highlight the harmful effects that mining can have, both on humans and on the environment, very realistically.
I guess the reason for why we chose this book is a little bit clear now. Not many people know about the effects that mining can have, and it is an issue that is not discussed very much. We learned a lot while doing research for this episode, and we hope that you will too.
Let's begin by talking about the environmental effects of mining itself. The first and foremost one is deforestation, due to clearing the land in order to build the mine in the first place. Not only will this contribute to global warming, but it will also result in the destruction of habitats of the organisms that reside there and would potentially lead to a loss of biodiversity.
Another harmful effect that this could have is that of soil erosion. Mining also involves digging into the earth, causing land instability and phenomena such as sinkholes and landslides.
Mining involves the change and destruction of habitats that leads to many species dying off. Plants can also be affected through direct poisoning or soil acidification, by chemical contamination, And again, this could also lead to diminished species number.
Water is used for a lot of purposes in mines, such as drainage, cooling, aqueous extraction, and other processes. And this increases the potential for chemicals to contaminate the ground and surface water. As mining produces enormous amounts of wastewater, the disposal methods are quite limited due to the contaminants that are present within this wastewater. Runoff containing these chemicals can lead to the devastation of surrounding vegetation. The dumping of such runoff in surface waters or in a lot of forests is one of the worst options, as highlighted in the novel.
These chemicals kill off aquatic life and cause water pollution and can even poison the human population, which was also seen in the novel. Moreover, mining also produces waste material, one of which is called a tailing. Tailings have a great potential to damage the environment by releasing toxic metals by acid mine drainage or by damaging aquatic life.
Lastly, mining involves several processes such as smelting and transportation that cause huge amounts of air pollution.
So, you may be asking yourself, how can these effects be reduced? It is up to the governments and mining companies themselves to make changes. As civilians, we cannot be directly involved but can passively help by educating ourselves, spreading the word, and signing petitions, and even pressurizing governments and companies to take action.
We have linked several resources in the description below to help you out with this. Now, what can these governments and companies do to help?
We won't go into too much detail because it's quite complicated, but the first step is to use lower impact mining techniques rather than the traditional ones to significantly reduce surface disturbance at mining sites, lower soil erosion, and move less material that would need backfilling, which would result in less environmental damage.
One of the things that is applicable universally while being more eco friendly is reusing. Reusing mining waste like tailings, rocks, and wastewater helps us use less resources and solves the problem of excess waste. Companies and governments can also invest in eco friendly equipment, such as battery driven equipment rather than diesel driven options, which significantly reduces the amount of carbon dioxide produced in such mining operations and reduces the risk of increased global warming.
Rehabilitation of mining sites is also something that a lot of mining operations have already begun using. It helps speed up the recovery process. For more detail on this topic, you could visit our blog, which will also be linked below.
We hope that you learned as much as we did in this episode. If you find something else about this that's as interesting and worth knowing, please do comment below.
And to ensure this reaches as many people as possible, don't forget to share it with your friends.
Also, make sure to like and subscribe. We'll be back with a new episode covering World Made by Hand by James Howard Kunstler in 2 weeks. Until then, stay safe.